Hey, welcome back. Oh, is that spaceship music?
That's the Dallas theme song.
Oh, that's because Dallas is here. See, I aged myself.
That's bad.
That is because Dallas is here. Dallas Evans joins us, not of the TV show Dallas, just of the name from an old hydroplane racer. Dallas, well, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing just great.
Yeah, so, 29 years in financial services. You've kind of seen a lot, the ups and downs, seen people educated and lack thereof, I suppose, in the financial world. And one of the big things you wanted to talk about, or we talked about before the show, is just kind of rethinking this role of household debt. What do you mean by that?
Household debt comes in a lot of different ways. We have mortgages and we have credit cards, things of that nature that all make up our lifestyles. And too often we see ourselves getting beyond that income coming in, and we start borrowing against our earnings, and that eventually catches up with us in our lifestyle that we might enjoy in retirement.
Mm-hmm. And so that it's this element of, having too much debt. It's pre-spent money almost.
Yeah, you're borrowing into the future, so you make sacrifices.
It's like what debt? It's almost the exact definition, right?
Yeah, we don't want to go back to the future on that one.
Oh, very good, very good. So Dallas, one thing, I'm in the mortgage world. You talk about important for people to rid themselves of mortgage debt. Why is that important, especially as they enter retirement?
Well, for one thing, most people assume that you can spend less in retirement than you are when you're actually working. But the reality of it is that we may spend $5 or $10 on food and a few dollars on gas getting to work every day. But when you're retired, what are you going to do for those 9 hours? You're no longer spending $15 for 9 hours. You're probably spending a lot more than that, traveling, things of that nature. So I think one of the misconceptions out there is you can get away with spending less in retirement than what you had when you had disposable income when you were working.
And so giving yourself, it sounds like you're saying if you're eliminating most of the pre-spent money debt-wise, what you can actually end up doing is it gives you enough to maybe,
it gives you a lot more discretionary income to spend on the right-hand side of Costco. Let's say that.
On the right-hand side?
Yeah, left-hand side is what you need for non-discretionary expenses, and the right-hand side.
Oh, like the Roomba.
Yeah.
They got the Roomba, the robot vacuum cleaner that goes around.
Yeah, well, that would be on the...
It's on the right side.
That'd be on the discretionary side.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
We want to head back to the bananas and the milk.
Back into the bananas. Things you can pronounce.
The low-profit margin items are where we want to spend our
got it.
money.
Okay, so, you reduce your debt and also, increase savings a little bit. What do you think then the retirees who own their home free and clear then, what should they be looking at or what should they be... How can they provide additional financial resources? How are people retiring, really?
Well, that's a big question right now. I think that a lot of people are going to be working well into their 60s and 70s. Recent study shows that people over the age of 65 that don't have a disability, that percentage of people working has gone up about 2 or 3% in the last 4 or 5 years. So people are looking for alternative forms of income because they're finding that they don't have enough for discretionary expenditures. What fun is it to retire when you can't spend money on discretionary expenditures?
Right. It was the whole point, right?
Yeah. So I think the housing budget for most people runs around 20-30%. You're in the mortgage business. You won't lend to somebody unless they can prove that the mortgage and taxes is going to be less, about 30% of their gross income. But you can't keep playing this game when you're young and getting pay increases and having this buy-up problem where you're buying bigger mortgages and bigger houses because your income keeps going up. At some point, that 30-year mortgage is going to take you out to 90 years of age if you're still doing that at 60.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to come to the reality that somewhere around 40, 45 years of age, we've got to stop this buying up problem and now figure out how we're going to pay down what we just purchased.
Do you think that, is it like that 30-year process before you retire? Is there is it at 45? Is it at 50? Is it?
Well, I think in the mortgage business, most people only hold their mortgage for about 11 years.
Average is actually like 4 to 6. And
4 to 6.
I would say over the last 5 years, it's more like 6 months to a year.
Okay, well that's
because
what you're finding.
It's this perpetual. It's the truth. It's a perpetual refinance boom because you can always get 1/4 or 0.5% lower. It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, and we were up till recently we were borrowing money to finance our lifestyle. Again, borrowing ahead.
Sure.
And so that created another problem of continuing this debt picture on, and we were using our house as the bank of, our house was our bank. No longer the case.
Right. So you talk about upsizing, right? Buying up, moving up, buying a nicer home until a certain age. Now, when you're ready to retire, now you start talking about downsizing. And, you'd kind of talked a little bit about kind of the pluses and minuses of downsizing when it comes to finances. Can you help us understand a little bit more about that?
Well, I think the conception is that most people would think that at some age your kids move out of the house, they're gone from college, and now you've got this big house that you're just rambling around like BBs in a big tank, and so they want to downsize. I found that most people don't end up doing that. They're adjusted to their community, they like the lifestyle they're in, and to move away from where they're at right now requires them to find another house that's similar to what they have, and so why make the move? I'm finding that it's probably less than 20% of my clients that actually even consider at age 65 that they will downsize, even though they were talking about it earlier.
I still remember everybody was going to move into a condo. That's why they built them all.
Yeah, well, condos create another issue, too. Pluses and minuses of that, because it's low maintenance. You can travel, you can lock the door, and everybody takes care of everything around the outside of your condo. But the problem with that is today is a lot of these condos have problems getting mortgages against them if there's a majority of renters sitting them. And so it's hard to sell a condo if you need to sell it. It's hard to buy one if you need to get financing for it. And so it kind of depresses the value of it, but that's another discussion.
Yeah. I mean, so when you start looking at people, just from the financial side, if you're starting looking at, you need to pay off your debt, right? And you're going into this retirement, that's not easy for people to do right now. I'm in the mortgage world. People aren't just like, gosh, you know what? I think I will pay off my mortgage in the next 5 years. Can't believe I didn't think about that before. How do you advise people to do this? Sure, there's might be that 1% or whatever that can go, yep, done having a mortgage, here's a check. But there's a lot of people, most people who have a mortgage that don't get to flip that switch. How do you advise them?
Well, this raises an issue because when your kids are out of the house, now you have more disposable income to either save into your retirement plans, which the IRS gives you benefits of adding more money to your retirement plans after age 50. Problem is that some of these people have the ability to, or the benefit is that some of these people have the ability to pay down their mortgage much faster. Whether they refinance or not, they can add more payments to it. Mm-hmm. And I think you have to look at the opportunity cost of money. Your opportunity cost of money is the highest interest rate you pay out there, whether it's a car loan, Visa card loan, or your home loan. And if you're not making that kind of money after tax somewhere else in an investment account, then maybe that is an inducement to pay down your mortgage quicker. If you can, maybe there's a better inducement to put that money into a 401k plan or retirement plan because you're in a higher tax bracket now than you will be in retirement. So maybe when you hit retirement, you start pulling that money out in a lower bracket and maybe start chipping away your mortgage at that point.
So I guess what I hear you saying is if you're thinking about retirement next year, this is not, that's a much bigger fish to fry. You got to, if you eat an elephant one bite at a time, well, guess what? That's a big elephant over the course of a year. But it sounds like you're saying as you start on the verge of retirement, people need to start focusing on getting more debt-free rather than maybe just saving more money on a monthly basis.
They need to have a financial plan, and a financial plan or a budget won't work unless it's in writing. So it's really important you review that financial plan sooner than later, and you review it very frequently. I think most people that end up having problems getting near retirement are the ones that weren't planning ahead. And financing a house, I don't think anybody out there buys a house thinking that they'll never get it paid off. So somehow they forget about that somewhere in the 40s or 50s, and they keep leveraging up.
I think people forget about it about the day they move in and realize they need furniture.
Yeah, and a lot of other things they need.
And then the furniture gets the whole...
They spend too much time on the left-hand side of Costco, and pretty soon that mortgage is la-la land.
That's right. Well, hey, Dallas, thanks so much for joining us again. Dallas Evans, owner and principal of R.L. Evans Company, doing family-owned insurance and financial planning. When we come back, you might have thought about downsizing or upsizing. George Beasley is going to join us with a great, great quote. You can pick your realtor when you're selling your house, but you can't pick your buyer. We're going to give you some tips on how you can deal with that. We'll be right back after this break. I'm Ben Brashen. You're listening to Brashenomics.